Hari Om, Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, chapter 18, verse 36. Bhagwan Krishna in the last verse said, the consistency with which a stupid man, a fool, does not abandon his sleep, fear, grief, depression, and also arrogance, that type of resolve is tamasic dhriti. Now verse 36. Sugam dvidanim trividam shunu me baradarshava abhyasadramate yatra dukkantam cha nigacchati. Wonderful verse. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, Bhagwan calls Arjuna here as Bharata Rishabha. That is the one who is the most exalted in the family of Bharata, the best fellow. In all families, there will be one fellow. Sir, my grandfather, you don't know about him. Wonderful person. His photo will be there. Dirty photo lying there. But they will be proud. Similarly, Krishna says, you are the best in the Bharata family. Bhagavan asks Arjuna to listen to the three types of sukha, happiness. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, Satvikam Sukham is that in which one revels in by practice. That is Abhyasat Ramate Yatra. The joy that one discovers by the repeated practice of Shavana, Manana, and Nidithyasana is Satvikam Sukham. In all these, there is repetition involved. Generally, if somebody repeats something, people will get bored. You have said this already, again and again and again. How many times you will say this? Age, please go further. What do you want to say? But here, repetition does not bring boredom, but happiness. It is not discovery of joy which will be lost in some time, because every joy, it remains only for a few minutes. You give badam halwa, how much time you will get that happiness? Maximum 10 seconds, till the time it is there in your tongue. The moment it gets in, then finish. Every happiness. Happiness is between two sad events. It remains for a short time. But here, this joy, it will not be lost. I am not saying, Bhagavan is saying. If one gains it, Bhagavan says, it ends all sorrows. Dukkantam cha nigacchati. Swami Dayananda Saraswati says, every sense of sorrow is centered on I. I did it. Sir, you don't know. This I is released from various notions that give rise to sense of sorrow. The sorrow comes to an end by recognizing the nature of oneself is sukha, happiness, ananda. That is what Swami Dayananda Saraswati says. Swami Chinmayananda says, Bhagavan hitherto discussed the anatomy and physiology of work. First, Bhagavan discussed what are the factors that constitute impulses of action, namely knowledge, actor, and action. These three are the impulses of action. Afterwards, Bhagavan explained what is the motive force in all activity, which not only propel the activity, but also intelligently control and directs it. That is buddhi and dhriti. So constituents of activity. Then what propels the activity? That is also Bhagwan beautifully put it. Everything in three baskets. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The dissection and observation of work is now complete. What is work? What is action? That is complete. Now Bhagwan is going to discuss the psychology behind this work. Earlier he discussed anatomy and physiology. Now Bhagwan is going to discuss psychology behind that work. What a wonderful analysis. Why does a man act in this world? Why? Why all living organisms, even the smallest creature, act in this world? What is the motive behind all the activity? Whatever is the motive, it may be moral or immoral, whether it may bring sorrows to others or not. It may be cruel or not cruel. Why all living organisms act in the world outside? That is the question. In fact, every living organism acts propelled by the same instinct. Swami Chinmayananda says, what is that instinct? That is craving for happiness. Every living organism, no exception, from the smallest creature to the highest human being or even deva, I would say. Everybody is craving for happiness. Swami Chinmayananda says, 10 powerful horses, you tie a person or a man or a woman, 10 powerful horses cannot drag a man or woman to a place where there is no happiness. He will not come. Like the boy, small boy who hates to go to school, the father has to drag him. Similarly, nobody wants to go towards sorrow. Swami Chinmayananda asks, why you marry? And why you divorce? What is the reason? Happiness. He says, Swamiji says, ask questions on all your activities. Why you are doing that activity? Why I am reading a verse daily and giving it and putting it on the YouTube? I get some sort of happiness. Otherwise, why should I do it? If it is going to give me sorrow, I will not do it. Any activity, every activity in this world is carried out with only one end, that is happiness. Swami Chinmayananda says, physically we are all human beings, but mentally we still live like animals, two-legged animals, in his own words. Every living creature from womb to tomb acts for what purpose? The goal is the same for all. The goal is ending the sorrow and gaining the happiness. That is the goal for every living organism, whatever it is. Though the goal is the same, that is happiness, the nature of understanding, that is buddhi, and dhriti, fortitude or resolve, is different for different individuals. We have already seen that. 3 types. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Hence the path adopted also differs from one individual to another individual. The Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic paths. They seek their own sense of satisfaction, each one. The 5 component parts that make up an action is of 3 different types. We have seen that. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. It follows happiness that is gained by the different types must also be different in its texture, perfection and completeness. Hence there are 3 types of happiness. Then Bhagwan says, by practice, an individual can, to a large extent, abhyasa, By practice. Bhagwan always insists everything by practice. Car driving, practice. Cycling, practice. Meditation, practice. Cooking, practice. Anything you do, you have to practice. Otherwise, it will not come. Early morning, getting up, practice. Daily you get up. Automatically you will get up. So Bhagavan says by practice, abhyasa, an individual can to a large extent come to diagnose himself and understand the why and wherefore of all his miseries. Why I am suffering? What is the reason for my misery? You go on questioning, you can understand it. Thus, one can learn to readjust and reevaluate his life and thus end all his sorrows. If not, at least a maximum of them can be alleviated. He can reduce. So, in my view, I think this is the very, very important portion. Every one of us, no exception, including a sannyasi, I would say. Everyone looks for happiness. So Bhagavan classifies three types of happiness. And by practice, Bhagavan says, you can endure sorrows. That is a wonderful thing. That is what we are looking for. Every day we get up. We are looking for happiness. What else we are looking for? If something can give happiness permanently, why at all? Why we should not take that? That too, it comes from the mouth of Bhagavan Krishna. So I think this is very, very important in Bhagavad Gita, this portion. Uh, Further, what Bhagavan says, we will see later. Verse 36 again. Sukham dvidanim trividam shunu me baradarshab abhyasadramate yatra dukkantam cha nigacchati. Dukkantam cha nigacchati. Bhagavan says. Next verse tomorrow. Arihom sarvam krishnarpanamastu. Narayana 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 Narayana